started. But before we do so, Anan, are you a fluent Tumbuka speaker?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not a fluent.
Because of Alan, I wanted to speak to Tumbuka,
yes.
But then in front of Antoni, they're fluent.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you can try.
I can try. I was no longer to be up to the point where the band of Tumbuka Imazandi Taylor. Seriously. You will be speaking for me to Tumbuka.
Yeah, if you want
me to interpret it for
okay. I understand. Want for me to speak more Sindiga. So when he speaks, I'll be interpreting.
Okay, speaking is speaking.
Speaking it, but we know that the way men or maybe with like English. Malawi, it's your number one, your favorite podcast. We're in the northern part of the country. Mzuzu. I wanted to try to speak Chirumbuka, but we're having someone who's more fluent than me. So because of him, I will not speak it. Because of But anyway, and today I am your host, Bridget Litete, co-hosted by Papa Ayla, Dennis Iman. And it's not just the two of us. We are also having our guests. I will let them introduce themselves. Yes. We'll start with you, Kunene.
Thank you.
Just tell them briefly who you are and about your organization.
Okay. My name is Sydney Alan Chongwe. But due to our culture, our middle names we chose the Kara Mwina Usanka Wudu Kara. Jomo Antena. I'm a teacher bagade.
Logera, something like that.
Logera also I will tell you. Just explain the Kunen one because you have mentioned the Kunen.
Yes.
Yeah. The Kunen is like ngadi mfunde. Achina chongo pale achina banda. Alibambi ilikomande. Ama gawana. Kuti fende fa banda kuti abanda shigoga abanda kuti. Yeah. So if you chongo the Kunen is. Professionally, I did electrical and electronics engineering, but passion, I studied videography. So as of now, I'm having a studio. It's called Random Shot Studios, which are the producers of Podcastmalawi.
Okay. Podcast versus podcast. Okay.
Now I get it.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm based in Zuzu. Actually. Posa yeda bata segura so ka entertainment company again kami maka to phone we are creating a platform with the maga that should be performing by my stages Oceana. So we studied from where I'm staying. I stay in Kolongo.
Okay.
Yeah, somewhere in the Loinga. So yeah, that's all I can say about now.
Okay, Rehema.
So my name is Rehema Patricks. Unlike my colleague here, and I don't have so many names, and I really can't explain any other. So my name is Rehema Patricks. I am a human rights and governance activist, and I'm a founder of a youth-led organization called Section 30 that deals with the right to development, and we work in areas of human rights, digital rights, and the extractive sector.
All right. So today, guys, we are here to have a conversation about youth participation in governance and development. We would love to hear from these two friends of ours. Yes, they're my friends. These two friends of ours, what it is when we talk about youth participation in governance and development and how they achieve it in their organizations. So as we start this conversation, Rahim, I would love to understand from you, what do you really mean when we say youth participation in governance and development?
I think for me, in the simplest terms, I'd say youth participation in governance is the involvement of young people in decision-making spaces, not just in terms of representation. Now, for example, okay, let me start by saying what are governance spaces where young people can participate. you're looking at using the structure in Malawi. You're looking at my area development committees, my ADC, village development committees, my VDC, and other such platforms where in the city we call them my ward development committees. So you're looking at the presence and participation of young people in such spaces where they are able to inform decisions, and as well as their voices being heard in such spaces. Not representation, but their effective participation in such spaces. So pretty much that's what youth participation in governance is.
All right. Up to you, Kunene.
Actually, a lot has been said already, because if you can say good youth when we talk about the youth, first of all, youth engagement because mindset kwambiri kunoko politically anthu ambiri amagwisa ngati kuti achinyamata because they are very energetic and anthu odi mwina the young and free they pamazapezeka kuti in similar situations, if we can engage in them, my youth because we have a lot of development here in the countries we should be doing. The farmers are basically, it's really important for them because even in terms of decision making, because our minds are young and still more. If we can come up with we develop more something which you can implement them. Yeah, we really can do that because we have that capability. So, I can say that.
Okay. Personally, I love the balance of the two of you because Rehema is more of youth rights and advocacy. You are more into the youth activism in a way of creating spaces for young people to showcase who they are, perform, express themselves, which creates a good balance between our conversation today. Because I think one thing that I've realized is usually when we talk about youth activism, people always think of rights activism, youth rights activism, and they leave out the other parts of activities that young people need to be engaged in, the youth need to be engaged in, which in the end lead to democracy or good governance.
Yes.
So, having said that, why did you decide to create this vehicle that you're using? You've talked about your videography this side, you're talking about creating platform spaces where young people can showcase their talent, can do different things. Why creating that platform?
First and foremost, if you want to create something, which is my tendency, there's something missing on that particular thing.
Okay.
So if there's something missing on that particular area or anywhere else, you need to come up with a solution for you to make sure that everything is been done. Yeah, so that's why I chose to, when I came here from school, I realized that my platform could not go in terms of my podcast and the likes. Yeah, so I thought it was after watching a lot of Podcastmalawi and the podcasting and then now, I thought it was good. If in Mzuzu we can come up with something beauty, and then they should be coming and they express themselves in terms of Mosiana, the way your Amaonelas do good is and there. So I really wanted to bridge that gap. Because each and every person has the ability to come and show the way we're doing here. I've been invited because if we're going to talk to him, he has something in him that even the nation needs to know. So I really need to do that because, I'm a youth, I'm an entrepreneur. You need to come up with something new to the people. Yeah, that's the reason why I started my vehicle, so that people should be jumping on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rehema, where does the passion come from to say, there are a lot of things that a girl like you would be doing than fighting for rights of young people, talking about development. There's so much that young girls are actually being attracted to. Why in the civic space?
So I think the major reason why I chose my focus to be on the civic space is because, number one, when you look at the population census of Malawi, young people are the majority, okay? We're looking about 70% of the population is young people under the age of 35, okay? Now, what does this entail? The fact that it shows that where we're going, we'll be the ones responsible for every decision that is made now.
Yes.
Okay? We'll be the ones to answer when our children question us, why is this country not heading the way it should head? Or why are we still facing the problems that our great-grandfathers are still facing? We'll be the ones who will be held accountable. Now, because of that, I had to sit down and say, Kodi, what is it if Timabanga contribute when it comes to development of our country? What do we have to offer? My colleague here has talked a lot about arts. I mean, that's so much talent that young people can offer. But how do you bring in arts and merge it with development? How does art, if young people are empowered in the sector of art, how can that contribute to development? If young people are empowered in terms of making decisions, how does that entail when it comes to the development of Malawi? How do we achieve the Agenda 2063? As young people, how do we actively take part in that? So I think for me, the passion was the legacy we're going to leave as young people, which I think is very, very crucial, yeah? Dennis, you have so many talents as a young man, okay? But God forbid, but if you leave us today to meet our Creator, what will people say about you? What will be some of the achievements that you've contributed that somebody can say, you know what, that thing, that's Dennis's, brainchild. Or what is that thing is what Bridget did. You know, she's no longer here or he's no longer here, but we have something to show for Kunagoti Apanga contribute towards the development of the country. And I feel like that's the major thing that really motivated me to be in the civic space.
Okay, apart from leaving the legacy, is there any importance why we should specifically look at what are the youth doing, giving the youth a platform maybe to voice out, to show out their talents and whatsoever that they have to show us? Why is it so necessary to have this specific platform for the youth instead of just saying, we have other leaders, maybe let them do that? Apart from the legacy, what other importance does it have?
I think one of the major one that I can say is for democratic purposes. We're living in a democratic country, okay? And the principles of democracy do tell us that participation is key. Okay, and for a long time, when you look at the history of Malawi, there's so many attitudes when it comes to young people. All you do is go clubbing, drink, have fun. I mean, which is not a bad thing, honestly. I mean, you have to balance life here and there. Yeah. But I don't think that's all what we're made of.
Yeah.
We can go clubbing today, and tomorrow I could do something that is going to benefit the country.
Yes.
Okay, so I think the major issue is for democratic purposes, yes, but then also when you're looking at development, it's not a one-man show. Okay, it's like football. Muntu mmoja cannot be a team, right? And one man cannot bring Chico back home. You're supposed to work together. So I think the idea of having young people having the platform to participate in decision-making processes or governance is for the mere fact that you cannot develop this country without the young people. We bring in energy. He talked about new ideas. You know, young people have so many great and innovative ideas. We have the strength or the stamina. Sirinafige stage we're too weak to work. Okay, so the manpower, the ideas, you know, the passion and the motivation, the creativity, all that, you know, is the major reason why young people should be in such spaces.
Okay, Kunini, you talked of having a podcast as one of the platforms to let the youth voice out, and I should say I'm excited here that Podcastmalawi is one of the inspirations behind that podcast.
Yeah.
Out of all the, should I say, projects or the efforts that you're putting out there, to what extent are you able to have an impact here in Zuzu, where you are based, and also to the country at large? Are you able to reach out to many youth as you wish?
First and foremost, right here, because it's right here in Mzuzu, first and foremost. So I'm promoting it first here in Mzuzu. Then after if it grows, generally it goes back to the Malawi and to the world. Yeah, because I've been here in Mzuzu for so long time. I know my friends who studied rapping or doing whatsoever they're doing from way back. But along the way, some of them, they got discouraged because of maybe life challenges. So I thought it was, okay, these guys, they have the potential, but still more. They just like a platform for them to rise up again. So I thought it was, if I can come up with a podcast and then they understand the vision of the podcast, generally, they're going to bounce back from whatever they've been slammed or whatsoever, wherever they've been into. Because here in Mzuzu, to be honest, here in Mzuzu, entertainment-wise, of course, we have the people who are doing entertainment, more especially because there are places where they are we want to make it a neutral press so that each and every person should be calm and engage, because because of their beliefs.
The prayer warriors.
My youngsters so I really needed to go, okay, if I can't effort I really need to make it a neutral press for the people to come.
Yeah.
It's not about podcast because it's more about promoting small businesses. Yeah, they need to a platform for the people to be exposed. Yeah, so I really thought of those things. Because of course I have this talent, I have this art, I have this passion. It's not for me. It's a burden. I really need to let it go. Otherwise, if I keep it to myself, it's gonna kill me.
Okay.
That's the reason why I started to carry platform.
Okay, so when we were coming, we were trying to look for a feature that best describes Mzuzu. Like Lilongo, when we say it's a dusty city. Now, what describes Mzuzu? So saying that Mzuzu, a lot of people are prayerful people. I think we should just describe this city as a prayerful city.
It's a prayerful city.
I beg to differ.
Actually, I wanted to hear what you would say.
What would you say?
That would be discriminatory, don't it?
Okay, apart from Mzuzu is cold.
Okay.
Mzuzu, it's really
Also, we can also say it's a cold city. This other side, it's a prayerful city.
Yeah, it's a green city.
For us to be inclusive at some point.
Yes. What else do you give me?
Rahema, can you paint a picture of what Mzuzu City is like, mainly when it comes to youth activities? What are things that happen in Mzuzu? We see things. I stayed here for years. School will always get you engrossed. But then, what are young people doing in Mzuzu?
Okay. Let me say it in this way. Young people in Mzuzu are doing a lot, and I'll specify what I mean by a lot. But before I specify, I'm going to tell you one challenge that we have that is more of dwindling the potential that young people have. Mzuzu is in the north.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
So whatever idea you might have, or he might have, if you need to gather resources, every person you're going to approach, headquarters. But do you know where that is? Little.
Or sometimes Blantyre.
Sometimes Blantyre. So the major challenge we have in Mzuzu is like, kunogo imakanga duguti tindiga office gonzuzu, but Lugulu, it's somewhere else. And even the potential for young people, for example, his platform that he has, I can assure you it's a great idea that can do so much. Okay, but if you ask him, sorry, I'm speaking on your behalf. But if you ask him, Goody, challenge he'll say resources. Because any great idea will require resources, whether we like it or we don't.
Yeah.
But where do you gather resources with Mene Mzuzu is located? So the only problem we have is, I cannot say necessarily in a geographical location. Komano, I feel like if you're Malawi, we don't understand what decentralization is. And decentralization is not only in government.
Guys, honestly, yeah.
Decentralization should also be Muma branches. Would you have an office? For example, in your Podcastmalawi, if you ever decide to have a permanent base in Mzuzu. Decentralization yake kali serious. Osa rikuti basi jina hii yose tufuna bene ai rembani request mutumize kuliro. Okay, it won't make sense. But to come back to your question, when you're looking at if I paint for you a picture of young people in Mzuzu, I'll say it in a very poetic manner, even though I'm not good in poetry. But if you want to find talent when it comes to entertainment, Mzuzu is your place.
Yes.
Okay, Mzuzu has so much talent, whether it's musicians, painters, creators in Mzuzu are a lot. Okay, when you want young people who are going to forge an agenda for you, be it a development agenda or whatever, Mzuzu is your place. We have active youth clubs in Mzuzu where there's so much talent. We have young people who are so much into business in Mzuzu, you would run away.
Very.
Okay, yeah, you can even give me a high five. Come on, he knows what I'm talking about. He definitely knows what I'm talking about. You know, when it comes to young people in politics, yeah. When it comes to young people in politics, in Mzuzu, you'll find young people who are geared politically. Actually, just for information, we have a young person in Mzuzu, the first young person in Mzuzu who is below the age of 35, who wants to contest as a president come 2025.
Wow.
So literally, Kunzuzu, it's like a rainbow, yeah? Not rainbow in the other sense, but just rainbow. The sky's the limit. Exactly. That's what I can say.
Okay, talking about the challenges, I would love to know like some initiatives or projects that you have implemented before to reach out maybe to young people in Mzuzu or maybe beyond, maybe to help them to voice out or to showcase their talents. Are there any projects or initiatives that you have implemented before?
Yeah. So we do have a lot of projects that we've done before and that we're currently doing. But before I go into details into the project, guys, I one BD, so just
it's okay. We need someone
I love the sound of my voice. Yeah. But yeah, so before I just hint on the projects that we've been doing or that we're doing, I want to just paint a picture. So then we're together. Mzuzu is, a city of 15 wards. 15, So when we're working, we deal with mawads, so not necessarily communities, but mawads. Okay. So most of the projects that we have, again, we're just a starting organization. Obviously, we cannot have the capacity of the UN, but in the limited resources that we have, Team Abanga engage different I don't want to use the word classes, but different type of young people, because young people are not in unison, and it's a diversity of people forming a particular group. So they are into agriculture, agribusiness. We support them into that. We cannot support them in terms of money, command in terms of capacity building, kuti kwabasa, skills they need to do what they are passionate about. So we have young people who are doing a lot in agribusiness, whether Gweta and Kumba and whatnot, and they are forming their own groups and whatnot. We have young people who are strictly into entrepreneurship. So we build their capacity, how to acquire loans from NIF, Magumagudi, how can they write business proposals and whatnot. So just some of the things that we do is we look at the needs of specific youths. We can't take youth because every young people, I have my own needs and he probably has his own needs. So we cannot combine to say, this is what we think is a one-size-fits-all type of solution. So we look at the specific needs of young people and see how we can go about to work together so we meet halfway to say and not put fail thinking that we're the almighty God and we can solve all your problems with like
much quiet.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so how did the different youth that you have approached, how did they receive this? And could you share maybe some insights on the successes of this project?
So I think when it comes to receiving, the problem with the young people, I don't know if it's a problem, is we might not necessarily like it, like the reception is always there, is always there. But I think maybe when we're trying to measure impact, timaona kuti kodi sustainability yake ife tikachokapo imakhala bwanje. So our success stories are measured on the sustainability of the initiative imene tayika, right?
Yeah.
So tikakupanga ni trend, for example, kuweta nkhumba is just an example. Ife tikachokapo, how then are you utilizing that knowledge to ensure that you're self-sustainable? Mutifunaso kuti tibwere, okay? How are you also impacting the same knowledge to other young people in your community? So it's not only about us, because sitingamango bwera daily wadi one ubakuphuzisa chomwechi. You also need to take initiative to say, ifeso munatiphuzisa kuma ifeso taphuzisa 20 more young people in our community. So usually success stories are measured in terms of sustainability. Komano, what is the counter effect of the initiative that Mwabanga put in place? So I think I could put it that way. I don't know if it answers your question.
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Coming to you, Kunene.
Yes, I.
In line with the same thinking, you have your podcast, you have all these things going on, working with different young people that are in business and whatnot.
Yes.
One thing that I've discovered, and as she was painting the picture of Mzuzu about talent, about creativity, about activism, whether in governance or in civic spaces, and in sports as well.
Yeah.
There's so much that comes from the North,
Yes.
and actually fits into the development agenda or entertainment agenda of the country as Malawi.
Yeah.
We have a lot of young people that came from the North that are playing soccer in all the major teams in Lilongwe, in Blantyre. Most of our famous musical stars are basically people from the North.
Yeah.
Netball is the same thing. When you are working with these young people,
Yes.
what do you put into their minds? Do you try to tell them that we can grow this up here and make it happen here? Or is it we want to expose you so you go elsewhere? And what's the theory of getting this raw talent from where it is, starting these businesses from there they are? Is it to export them, which you're exporting internally because it's all Malawi, but you're putting them into other regions? What are you trying to do so you...
Thank you so much for that question. I say, Kwambide, self-reliance, and they should self-independent. They should know what they're doing, and they should have the idea about the results about whatsoever they're doing. Because at the end of the day, you find many youngsters, as you said, they're into music, football, whatsoever. Because they are ignorant about the industry which they're getting into.
Yeah.
So since we are with a lot of research, because if you can come up with these as many as we do, you really need to do a research. Then after you do a research, you go to them, you go to tell them the truth. Okay, you're a rapper, yeah. There are managers and there are management teams out there. They're going to get your art. They're going to do whatsoever they're going to do. But at the end of the day, you're going to get peanuts. So if you're an artist, you really need to know what is your value and what are the necessities for you to groom your art. Because even the challenge of drug and substance abuse, we need to teach them what are these things. It's either they build you or they destroy you.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so that's the main area maga if you are developing mama guy now in terms of even management. They really need to know how to start from the ground, even reaching to the end. Because at the end of the day, if they don't know how to organize their own event, somebody is going to come and organize it for them and get the whole man.
Get everything from them. Yeah.
You see?
So on Nkanya, most of the people that are actually making it big,
Yeah.
not just saying Zuzu, because when we are here, we are representing the whole region because it's the city that is in the north.
Yes.
Most of them, Amajoga, they'll go to Lilongwe to Blantyre.
Yeah.
It's like Amangoyamba kuno. The moment the talent goes up, it's like the idea is now let me go make it big in the capital city or in the commercial city.
Yeah.
how are you making sure that this talent can stay here, but can also reap my rewards? I know she has mentioned these my organizations being from there, maybe they're following, but there has to be something that starts so this talent is retained.
Okay, just to add on Dennis' question, what are some of the reasons that make them to leave the northern region and go make themselves maybe way more bigger in those other cities? Should we say that Mzuzu doesn't deserve those talents to grow here, to be born here and grow here?
Actually, I think in other cities, there's a well establishment in terms of industry wise in their event management, the music industry. It's well established. Why here in Mzuzu, resources? We have a crisis here in terms of resources.
Yeah.
And in terms of, and the second thing, I think entertainment here is not that varied as the way it is varied. It's been varied in other cities. Mm-hmm. No wonder people move out from here because they feel like in Branton and Lilongwe, there's a great audience so that they can grow their platform. But still more here in Mzuzu, if you can come up with those platforms, I'm telling you, the whole art will turn back home here. Yeah. I don't know if I'm reaching to your point.
Yeah, we're getting there. It's a conversation. So I think we can also explore with her. Because even when it comes to political circles, when it goes to activism, human rights, commissioners, youth engagement leaders are most of the people that actually come from here. We've got a list of names that we can't even exhaust. What's the drive? What's the drive or what's the push?
So this is how I think I'm going to address your question. I think usually anybody who is pursuing a dream or a vision, where do I flourish most? Yes. It's like when you're doing a business, the first thing you're going to look at is location. Where I'm situated, my clients, my customers, will they be able to access my products and services and be able to buy them? So I think most of the time, when you have young people with talents, be it footballers, musicians, and whatnot, they don't necessarily have the resources to reach a wider audience. So I'm a capitalize on the existing resources that they have. Yeah, the audience with the resources that they have to reach audience. I'm a prioritize. So the more people are coming to support this person, the more resources they're getting. And then now they're like, I think the Takubanga expand. Just the way a business works. Kudi panova dibange expand. We now more Nzimba ndifike Nkadabe, and then after Nkadabe, let me try Dwangwa. So the more they expand, the more they realize, this is where the gold is. Mm-hmm. So I think it's the whole idea of migrating for greener pastures. Gugu, of course, and also sometimes population, Kunzuzu, we are not a lot of people, honestly. Ugaona the socioeconomic profile ya Kunzuzu, the population is not as much as it is in Blantyre. So Lomtabanga show, even if the whole Mzuzu decide to go into a stadium and the whole Blantyre decides to go into a stadium, obviously you would make more money in Blantyre. So I feel like maybe the idea in Makalaguti, because of where can I make more money? Not to dispute your argument, of course. Yeah. I do get what he means when he says Kuti tika kanima platforms ameno and hajabu. But the chances of these people to come back again is very tricky. I wouldn't bet on Kutikuiga Mazrango in one Let's be honest, let's be honest. Because even if I was a footballer and I had greater chances in Blantyre, okay, because I know I'm going to sell more in Blantyre, so that's what I can say.
Okay. As organizations that are not yet big but are on the way there, have you ever maybe experienced some resistance and some other challenges with other already established institutions? That goes to both of you.
You start.
As of me, because otherwise, ever since I started, chifukwa ndimadzikanduziwa kuti if I'm going to do this ndazambi I'm self-sponsored.
Okay.
Yeah, I sponsor myself in terms of if I'm going to kuti ndikambe sopanga beg and the like from other institutions, it's gonna take a long process. Jamani na kuti hakuna kwa office kulibe alikuja
kumwela
ku central region to umwela go. If you quite know that okay, despite the little that I have, I'll have to do this just because to avoid the situations that I'm in, yeah. So I don't know. For you, Liam.
For me, it's different. Space in Elios Muntunga Kalimo. There's always a political angle, not political in terms of Ndalet, whether it's in a music industry. There's still politics within the
everything is politics. Even the churches
So for me, I have encountered a lot of challenges, and I think kumakala, I don't know, I feel like this is common in my sectors also. Kumakala ma gatekeepers of that space. There are people who have been in that space and who do not want to, leave the space. So sometimes they don't want new blood to come into the space because interest so everybody's there to protect their own interest.
Yeah.
The coming in of where does that leave me and my interest? So challenges are always there, not only in terms of gatekeeping, but also if usually my young upcoming organizations, whether you're looking for financial resources or whatnot, people cannot trust you because you don't have a record. You're trying to build your record,
Yeah.
Especially when it comes to finances. So Mwina sometimes mwabezaka funding kenagage don't know be like komakula kumendu kuone tola itoka. Exactly. So the best organization kenagage kotin kukazikiga you should
partner with them.
So then we at least know that our money is safe. But then sometimes also when you partner with this organization, you risk a lot. Okay, because at the end of the day, donors can just decide, maybe this guy's implement. Well, just learn, keep learning. Sometimes you might decide to partner with big organization in terms of kulemba ma proposals and maviza proposal ya dusa. They amango kudomola bas.
Silent treatment.
Exactly.
Zukanga the project
Actually, run tama kuimbira. Proposal jamana and that we don't know if funds ubanga implement, and you're like wait. And you go check my email listings up on Madabota. Command Kandibanga Gope. Can I want to you're wondering what happened? What really happened? So my chances got our own dambi. Those challenges are a lot, and we face them each and every day. And especially for me as a young lady. Again, this is a very political statement. Sometimes it's not only in terms of giving you the space, giving you the platform, but sometimes people might want a little bit of this and a little bit of that, so that
let's go deep there. Because I was going to ask that, when you're sitting in these spaces and the civic space is dominated by male. And these are male that are feared mostly because of the thing that they stand for. They stand on podiums, they invite chiguru, magabanga demo. So if they see a beautiful girl like you and you're there sitting in these boardrooms with them, say, no, I'm part. Are they not hitting on you? Like, hey, come. So, we can get you some funding, but can you tell us what are the challenges when it comes to...
I think challenges are there. I think specifically for females, honestly, guys.
I'm not saying because of women now. So challenges are there. I mean, every step you're going to go to, you always find such people who feel like they cannot assist you unless they, So the challenges are there. Komano, Pena, as he said, Mzuzi is a prayer for seat. The prayer But so I think those challenges are there, and it's so hard.
let me say this. You can say no as much as you can, but it's very painful to see somebody who is given on your opportunity because you did not do something.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
It's really, really painful. And I feel like in the civic space, if you don't have the heart, please. And it's not a space you can come into, okay? It's not for the faint-hearted. I'll be honest with you. The civic space is not for the faint-hearted, especially if you're a young woman, okay? Because, guys, not everyone, most of them would want to, whether you like it or you don't, even if it's not about money, okay, even if it's just a little opportunity that they know where it's going to shed light on, you know, they would want to tap a little bit of that. Komano, etimalimba ndetu, if you're in the civic space, we are very brave young people.
Okay.
I need to be sure. Do I side with you? Or maybe you need cover. We can send some cover.
No,
Bensam, we can send them just to be your bodyguards when you walk into these meetings. You
my bodyguard is so rata we ambassador. I'm risking my life for you. But there's one thing that I want to point out. I think usually in such spaces, it's not easy for us to come in the boardlight to say this and this has happened, because number one, color victim shaming. Why didn't you do episode? Why has it taken you this long
to say it out?
And sometimes these allegations are faced by big people, and you know, people in the civic space in Dantoti, they're well respected. They have created a name for themselves.
Yes.
It's so difficult for somebody to believe you over that person. They'll be like, integrity. You know, if you have never heard of integrity, and how can he do this? But you know something, guys, I'm sure Molito doesn't see the way you look.
It's about what they want.
It's about what they want.
When in Azori Dimalimba. But if there are, let me not say if, but there are some other young men and both young men and women out there who are trying maybe to establish some organizations maybe in the civic space, but they have already started facing these challenges. What could be your piece of advice to them on how they can approach such challenges and how they can deal with them, so that they should go, like maybe they should go far and not just stop where they stop, because I don't want to do this, so I'll just stop my organization here. What can they do for them to go far?
So I'll give solutions and problems to the solutions. All right. So, number one, I would say the first thing for me would be patience. Osa tamanga, guys. I know people look at success as an instant thing. Because if you're in a hurry, if you're in a hurry, you will face those challenges head on, and you wouldn't know how to. And at the end of the day, you know, in the civic space, respect and integrity and self-dignity is important, because you work with the community, you work with young people, and your name as a leader is important. So once your name is tarnished, it means your integrity is already tarnished. I mean, if you are able to do this, are you sure Ndarama Simugaja? Are you sure you're going to represent our interest in Menedugu Funila? So patience is very key. Tigamayamba, it's like a child. Ama badwa, kama zakala, kama amba kukwawa. I mean, it cannot just be born and tomorrow gamba utamak. You know? So there must be stages, and be willing to go through the stages, whether you like it or not. For you to be able to maintain your dignity, make sure you're patient enough to go through the stages of growth. Number one. Number two, be bold enough to report. Yes, there'll be backlash. Even in the world will swallow you, but at least your voice has. You've spoken your truth. And I mean, with the way our society is structured, there are two ways. It can go your way or it cannot go your way. So be willing to risk it all for the sake of accountability. Justice should prevail. Be willing to risk it all. But if you don't want to, which I will not advise, is the idea of keeping quiet. you know. But for me, I would say be patient, work together with your friends, because when you work in isolation, you become a victim easy. Okay, but if I know Bridget is in what I'm doing, he's in what I'm doing, I mean, I can be able to work with you guys, and you can show me the loops and hoops of how to go about it. And you want to work in isolation, it becomes a challenge. So I think those are the only three major things I can say. Of course, Mina, the ubempela, as what he said, is also very important.
Yeah, kumabempela maganzi.
Sarana matabu.
Kunen,
Yes, sir.
as a man now,
Yeah.
in the entertainment industry,
Yeah.
in the arts, in these spaces, you meet a lot of girls as well. You meet a lot of boys.
Yeah.
And one thing that is also dominant in the industry is the same thing that she was talking about, where people that have got resources, that have got kutegera, akapeza anyamata, atsikana, oti maybe alibe ma resources, they want to use them for their sexual pleasures. So akuzobeza kuti mina ati mafana tinatake anyamata, kati maimba, kati matani. Tukufuna tipange china chake, tipange tiliza abamu, akumana ndi masteni ena ake, kaya ndi chishopu chawo, apita kapanga ask me, ati bafuna mutipange ko support abamu yathu, timapanga zakuti, and this masteni will be like, mubwere kunyumba tidzakambirane. Kunyumba kucha, mzoti, ubwere kaye wekha iweyo. And the reason is they want to take advantage of this little fella, sleep with him, and then, whether they will support or not. The same thing with men. Are you aware of these practices? And if you are aware, how ready are you as you are rolling out all these things to make sure that you protect other young people from these abusers?
Okay. I'm not sure on how I'm going to say that, because if akakumana nazo zimene zizo kumakhala awiri sididziwaso anthu ena zimwe amene anena kuti anthu ena they become victims kumasayankhula, and they become used to that lifestyle, because amanena kuti ngakhale amastena ngakhala kumandipanga izizi koma dola akumandipasa china chilichonse chimene mfuna kuti ndipange ichocho ndipanga. It's all about the decision of your artist yako kuti iweyo dignity yako kuti iweyo ufuna kuti uzipengedwa respect banji mu society yako. Uzitenga zimene zozo kapena you are okay with that. It's a decision of your artist. It cannot be I'm there read it koma situmo somebody zosingathe kudziwa koma ma consequences zake I'm going to tell them. Do you know the reasons why I'm training amapanga zimene zozo? Okay, why do you do that? I know mangopanga choncho because I've got no choice. You got no choice because maybe you are poor, because you have been antena ama tengera kuti mwina they've been helped koma saka kuti they've been helped, because at the end of the day they're going to find themselves kuti mwina they don't have anything, and mayaja angwasiaso kwapa china chili yose
apatsa mina
matenda ena zomwe malicious makamaka. You find yourself kuti mwina instead of going up you're going down kwambiri because you got initiated in malicious ngati zimenezi. Those things really happened. They pamakhaso kumaonekerana ma issues ngati amene kumagaya okay, despite you're doing this thing this industry, it has the darker side of it. Yoti mwina make mangoyimba, because antambie makamaka ma artist, they only think about their music and their work. They don't know kuti kuiso
people controlling
ngini kuti iziteka pambene yokufunira. And if ngati osana segule maso, still more generally they are going down. If you akasegula maso akazindikira mene zinthu zizimayendera, it's up to them now. So are they going to do the decision which is bad or good? That's how I can handle that question, bro.
But now in a space ngati where resources are dry,
yes,
you have Iwe Rudi. Ukumane ndi mastere na kunene. I say, I watch your podcast. You know, I want to get you this gear from South Africa. Actually, I already have these microphones kunyumba. When kupita tukapezoti uli gear ina yake umumu. And this woman tells you, I can sponsor your podcast for like 5 months. I was based on my guest. I'll be giving you my supplies. Get you an office. And all I need is this. Please don't forget the cameras. Forget the microphones. You know, ndi fail to kujeza. You are big. And you do your kama una equipment mina kamba kwina ma 10 meter. Iweyo mene wavutikira kuti utolere izi pange izi muntu akupatsa mwayiwu, and all this woman is asking for at that particular time is ungobwera uzagone nani kwathu kamodzi basi iwe ate nthawi imene ndio wakaumbira girlfriend wako aine ndili busy so lero wani ungona wafuna kale zimwezi but at that particular time girlfriend ali busy awa kubatsa ndalama apa nene chilungamo
ineyo okay manga ineyo kunene manga Sydney Alan Chongwe kwa ineyo situation ndio vuta koma muntu kakha kuti ukuziwa if you have a vision and you know exactly izinto zimene zingakuphera vision yako, no matter how hard it is, man, umayinebe kuti you should fight for that vision. Or umaziwa zimene manena kuti kuthamangira patience. If you are not patient enough, bro, generally uona kuti upanga bwanji utolera data pamene data utolera koma zimangotenga so ye muntu wako how do you handle yourself in terms ukafika situation ngala mena monga ine skwazi ndi maziziwa ndeka ndizovuta kuti to be comfortable with her akangonena zimene zozo general it will turn me off kumene ndidziwa kuti these are the things which I'm fighting kuti samachitike koma uyu wangobwera yekha kungonesera mpambalambanda generally imeneyo ndi child of God. Koma kwanza angena ndikuziwaka kuti iyo ndiwo kale imeneyo imakhala ndiwo koma zimangotenga siwe imene the person who you are mabelesa ako imene watani umasunga and the imene unakuliraso unaleredwaso chifukwa makola ja amakhala kuti akutilangizaso each and every day amatilangiza kuti amwene before even the studies says ndimayimba. I'm a rapper.
Wow.
What's your rap name? Sorry.
Okay, my rap name is Don't Say Don't Goma. Ever since Kwambera ndiri maybe since from 2012. That's when I started the Kula music industry. Zosizija bambanga mayanga sister anga makabe akurangiza zimene zozo amwene koma mupitako mwakumana ndantha and be strong and do upempelera and those words enough amakabe also the advice you should be moving forward for umakhawa kudza kuti zinto zisintu panga ndekha despite whatsoever the challenge. Okay, my challenges are there. Mobaso tinganendo chonche mulungu did not create sin. Even Satana sakukakamiza chimaka decision yako kuti chintu icho upange or not. So iwe ungati ukakha kuti ndi OG umayinabe kuti you should be respecting your originality. That's how I can handle this.
Gugu, you had a question?
Yeah. I just want to track back a little bit in terms of the victim shaming, right? It's actually a really big problem because I think everybody else faces that, especially we are called a woman and these and I really don't want to be I'm giving you this option. I say and then I'm gonna give this because I feel like we do people so we have to be saying it right. So we have to speak it right. So you're faced with that situation. I was with sisters. I tell you, it was like No. So this victim shaming thing that people usually are afraid of, how do you think we can address that? Because I feel like it's been years. To say that maybe some of us were below 30 and I know you're above, but it's been there from the beginning of time. How do you think from this point onwards going forward, we can actually help our youth to be more open enough? Because you know what, I'm a victim of such and such. How can they come in the open and talk about these matters? Could they were sexually abused or even manipulated so that they can get the opportunities that they want? How do you think we can address that?
For me, I would say the crucial thing is the support around the victim. That is really crucial, because from the time that thing has happened to the time that she's able to speak out or has the fear to speak out, there are a lot of factors that come into play. It's unfortunate that maybe in our country, we don't have proper psychosocial support. I'll give you an example. Back when I was in uni, I had encountered a situation in college. And it was so bad to a point where the dean of students had to intervene, and we went to Zomba police. And I went to the police, and that was the first time I experienced victim shame. It wasn't from an outsider. This was from a law enforcement. Okay, I want that to sink in, because the first question they asked was, "Iwe ondori wamujela ndama zinga?" Okay, and you're talking to a girl who is traumatized, she's scared, and she looks at you like you are her only solution. So for me, I would say, Goody, it's the psychosocial handling of the victim, but also the people she meets along the way after the incident has happened. Okay. Oh, by the way, I wasn't raped. I just want to say it was just another situation. Just so that we're clear. But so for me, I would say the one thing that we need to invest as Malawi, as a country, is the psychosocial support. Because when she goes through counseling, even before she speaks out, she'll be bold enough to speak out, as well as handle whatever come my yeah. Because at the end of the day, for me, I would say, we know that the society, for example, here is the problem, because it would want to shame the victim. So you cannot go to the society one by one and start addressing them. The first person you would want to equip is the victim themselves, to say, how do you prepare that victim for the shaming that is going to come? I feel like that's one thing that we overlook so much. We might meet the victim, would counsel her through whatever she has gone through, but we ignore how not only the society, but even how her family views her, especially in abuses where they are inside the house, and the person who has abused this person is a breadwinner. Okay, how do they navigate? Because these are people who are there in their lives. It's not like whatever, and then this is your blood relative. They are not just going to be deleted out of your life. Okay, so how do you handle that? So for me, I would say, let's capitalize on psychosocial counseling. Honestly, it's very, very crucial. And the training also should start from our law enforcers, because guys, well, I started mangi after this, but they are one of the people who do not know how to handle victims. Police support victim. I remember we're handling some case at my office of a woman who was, going through that. And there was a lady there who victim support unit who said, "Nanganyo mufuna mwamangi samuna nwana nyuaza jesanda."
Wow.
That's common. It's common.
They literally tell it to your face.
Yeah.
And do you know what that statement means? It's not strictly shaming you, but you should read the subtext. It means you're a very stupid woman. How do you report someone who is feeding you, who is feeding your kids, who is the reason why you are in town? Ana mamba ufsan mafus. Inwe amona nana mna kwa journalist. Ana kutengani good. Oh, ifeneli kumpelembe. Tinabwela kunoko in town ifanya amona atu. All those things already put you at a situation where you should start feeling guilty for your courage.
Do you think even our cultural beliefs are to play in this area? Because I feel like in as much as they might be civic education, because I feel like even when even the law enforcers, they do go a little bit of training about these things, right? But I feel like when we are faced in this kind of situations, I feel like, what if cultural beliefs also play a role in this area? Like how we have been raised. Good, you know what? As a woman, you're just supposed to, be quiet, don't do anything, right? Because I remember I was also faced in a similar situation growing up, but it wasn't, I knew, because my mother would be like, if anybody else touches you wrong, whatever, you need to tell me. But in my mind, like we have other societies, like, like you growing up and you are connecting with other people, you are hearing stories, and when situation like, no, you're not supposed to say this, you're not supposed to do that, you're not supposed to do that. So when you're faced in this kind of situations, in as much as you are taught, you're supposed to do A, B, C, D, those beliefs might also come to play. We are not supposed to do this as a woman. You're not supposed to voice out and all that. How do you think we can break through this cultural belief barrier? Because in as much as in schools we can be educating people, whatever, but on the cultural aspect of things, how do you think we can break through, and so that people should not be tied down to these beliefs?
Okay, this is one thing I'm gonna say. I know I did not mention this area, guys, but I'm a feminist. I should have said that in my introduction.
Okay.
But so for me, I would say this. When you look at culture, there are two sides of culture. There's the positive culture, and then there's the negative culture. The negative culture is the one that you've highlighted on. And it's a shame, to a point that this morning I was talking to a colleague and she said, something, a woman would see their own child being abused at home, but she won't say it. She'll be like, just, literally making sure the child does not even tell somebody within the family, so they keep the thing. But this is what I'm going to say. And I'm going to say this, guys, very diplomatically. I hope I won't be quoted out of context.
No. Take away the diplomacy.
There's no diplomacy in here.
I think we need to know that as the world is changing, culture should be dynamic as well. The only constant we have is the constant change that we're experiencing it. Okay, and I know sometimes, and I always give this example, in terms of culture that we need to let go. The culture of silence isn't a good culture. Yeah. It's only not affecting our mental health, but all on the issue of corruption, it's still the same thing. It's the culture of silence. Nobody wants to show you anything. No one wants to tell you anything. We need to break away from this culture. But how then do you penetrate a society? Because this is the thing that holds a society together. They have a culture. When you go to Rumpi, when you go to Malingunda in Lilongwe, they have a culture. So culture is literally like the glue that holds people. It gives them identity. It gives them a sense of purpose. It gives them a certain way of life. It gives them the idea of what is wrong and right. And I think that is where the crucial part is, the idea of what is wrong and right with regards to culture. And I feel like in Malawi, we need to do a lot of work on how we bring in the law and culture together, okay? Because where culture fails, the law has to come in and support. But Ntaizambiri, Zimati Vuda to reconcile these two, I would love to see a space in Malawi where the government takes active laws in identifying violent issues and pursuing them as the state themselves. Not kuti mwakabanga report, you don't have a prosecutor, then, but literally them taking initiative to say, amwen ababa mobanga chakuti ife ongarabo matiro rap. I know we do that still, right? But usually makandi civil society organizations that would come in. Okay, so I would say the only way we can break through culture is to bring in the element of law, because other than that it would be like empty tins making noise. You can go and self-educate people. You can do what you have to do. But if there is no binding aspect, it's not going to change. They'll still cling in on it. So for me, the answer would be, we should try and merge where culture fails, we should bring in the element of law to support. Or where morality becomes a conflicting part when it comes to basic human rights and the upholding of culture, then the law should come in to take place. That's what I would say.
Okay. In relation to culture, are there any misconceptions about youth participation in governance and development, and how can we approach such misconceptions and challenge them? That goes to both of you.
You should start.
Okay, in relation to culture, are there some misconceptions about youth in participation in governance and development, and how do we, as a country, how do we approach such misconceptions if they are there, and how can we challenge them?
Could be in terms of culture, because we are people who been brought up with different values and the things. The self-education is very important sometimes.
Okay.
You really need to value things. Okay, of course the culture is saying this, but why? Okay, the culture is saying this, but the way I'm feeling, is this right or not? Then after from there, if you really know yourself, I think you can come up with a decision which you know good. Okay, this is wrong, and despite the good is amongst the culture and they just screwed the people for so long time. Komabe, I feel it's wrong. I really need to change, and it's a one man step, because uma sentaka wake up, then uma zapita well, okay chabwino izizi kuyidiga magai koma stumo paino noka mene mukuonera zinto zababa zikuenda bwino kapena sizikuenda bwino zikuenda bwino, okay, we are okay with that. Ngati sizikuenda bwino tipangepo jana maka my youth fail. Minus that, I'm telling you, see, the curse will just be going in circles. We'll just be moving in circles. But if we break it in terms of our mindset, in the way we think on how we should be able to handle other things, it's not always good to mean that the culture is right. You really need to think deep about whatsoever that's really for you to achieve. I don't know if I'm...
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So for me, I'd say there's so many challenges. Maga, the attitude that the older generation has with regards to young people. And I think I hinted on this earlier. Maga kala, when it comes to governance, even the idea of just having a young person at a position of leadership, it's already a question mark. Now, you know, wisdom you might think you should reach that place where you can fail. And I think even during JB it was also a similar thing, but for her it was on the women aspect. Now that we are under Pete Court government, which was very honestly, you know. But anyway, so it's usually the attitude that they have. Komaso, if you're at Nyamata, we don't do our due diligence in order to address these attitudes and misconceptions they have about young people. I think the way we live life doesn't help our case at all. We love life. We're full of energy. We know we would work. Yes, we want to balance our life. So an older man can find you in a community Saturday. You're drunk. You're having fun. And on Monday, they find Goody, the winner, just for instance, council, you know, as a decision maker. For them, they would be like, John, not knowing good life is all about balance. You know? Balancing. So I think the idea is the attitude that they have. But one solution I would give for that is I think Malawi, we lack that intergenerational coordination where the older generation can come and work together with the young generation, but not only working, you're looking at learning from each other. There are so many things we can learn from the older generation, but there are also so many things the older generation can learn
from the young
people. Before I went to uni, I had undergone a diploma, I think in NRC, and I was doing some, I think, agriculture. And I remember usually, so as an extension worker, you're given a farmer to be as part of your course. Exactly. So when I was very short, guys. I was very short. And I remember the first day they went to introduce me after the lecture had gone and whatnot. This man looked at me and he said, Nangewe uzinduza yani. What what is it that you're going to tell me anyway?
Yeah.
Because and he said, my grandchildren have kids your age.
Wow.
So what is it that you're going to tell
me that my kids have got to tell me, and I've got my grandchildren.
Exactly. So for me, and this is the thing that we also face in our community. I just wanted to give that as an example. My attitude, now, they are a problem because obviously they are cultural beliefs. The older you were, the wiser they thought you were. But I don't think that was also the issue. It's not about the age or the amount of years you've been on earth. Yeah, it's about how you think and your view of your world that makes you. Of course, experience gives you some sort of wisdom. There, but it's usually not the right type of wisdom. So that's what I would say on that.
Looking at the things that you're doing and this challenge that we have here of how we can bridge this gap, I believe that there's power in arts, there's power in the youth.
Yeah.
How can we harness that so that we can influence the upcoming generations? We might not really change the older generation, but we can actually take the younger generation with us in the way that we think, in the way that we look at the elder generation and try to narrow that gap. What do you think you can put out so that the young people get inspired in the mindset change journey?
Oh, okay. Okay. So for me, I would say this. Don't overlook the power of entertainment. This is what they say. There's a proverb in one of the African countries that they say an artist is the mirror of the society. Okay, which pretty much means that the younger generation will mirror you as an artist. What you give off is what they're going to consume, because young people is about consumption. Yeah. What is it that you're consuming on your day-to-day business that gives you some form of a hype, that gives you a sense of belonging? So when you're looking at music, whether it's acting and whatever you put there is creating some form of belonging for young people. For example, if Dennis was a musician, I know. Dennis is on the machine. I love his work. And you have a fan base. Those are young people who are your fan base. So it means whatever it is you're giving out, you're influencing.
Yeah,
they're copying. They're literally mirroring you. Okay? And it's the same thing with being an artist, whether it's an actress or an actor and whatnot. So I think it should start from us. If we are the generation that we're feeding the society, what are we feeding them with? Is it sex every day in our music? Is it, nudity when it comes to the videos we're producing? Is it
guns?
Exactly. Is it guns? Is it violence? The thing that you're giving out, literally, that is what young people will mirror. Because then don't forget, Kudi, when you're looking at the socialization process of Achinyamata, if it were a reflection of what we used to see while growing up. Okay? Literally, I'm a product of whatever, and for me, it's unfortunate because my late dad used to love Roomba a lot, so I'm literally a reflection of the Roomba guys and whatnot.
Exactly. All the ladies that you saw dancing in those music videos. Do my hair like that.
Exactly. So literally, that is what I mirrored. And also young people learn through observation. Yeah. Literally. You don't have to speak for me to be able to catch what Bridget is saying. Yeah. She could just walk from here to town and come back, and I have learned a dozen things from what she does, and I'm going to imitate that. So we should be careful with what we're giving out. And I'll give an example. Mogangana, back in history, there was a period that it was full of revolution. You had the Nelson Mandelas, the Nyereles, the whatnot, the John Chilembwes of these times and whatnot. When you listen to music that time, the Bob Marleys and whatnot, and I don't even know whatever, most of their songs was about
revolutionary songs.
Because literally they grew up thinking, oh my God, we need to take back our country. Yeah. From the colonizers, from whatnot, we need to take back our power. And because of those songs, we had a whole history of revolutionaries, people who said, we want our independence and we're going to take it back. And it's the same thing. So if whatever it is we're consuming now, it will reflect on the generation that is coming.
Okay, you guys are here. You have already started contributing to youth participation and governance, but it's not like, if we are to look at the rate to which youth are in this participation, it's not like a lot more that maybe we could wish to have 10 years to come. So how can we ensure more involvement or better involvement? How can youth be more involved in governance and development?
So for me, I would say putting in policies, because again, I always say this, option, people always opt out. Will opt out of the option that you want them to take. I know we have, Panopa, they'll be launching the National Youth Policy, right now in Abang expire. The previous youth policy in Kanena Kuti, at all levels, there must be 30% of youth participation in governance spaces. And 30% pretty much entails 3%. Okay? Komano, the challenge has been in implementation. Kumalawi ite magondo kandi maboite zokongo la. Like, oh, we write beautifully, guys. We are skewed at that area. But the problem now comes in when it comes to implementation or enforcement. Okay? Tita na, no. If I tinane nakale kuda chinyamata 30% as ikalamu ma decision making processes. Komano, who does now the ensuring
and they are actively participating?
Because Panopa on the ground, the situation in Makaguti, there's young people, yes, but they're just the Angati Kaposta. Placeholders. Guti Mumafuna youth participation jandari. But when you ask him, if you ask these people on any issues with regards to Ajinyamata, in as much as the young people, they cannot voice out. They cannot voice out. Okay, so for me, I would say that the policy that is being put in place of youth representation in such spaces should go beyond the mere stating of, say, 30%. Kukale specific guidelines on how these youth representatives are going to be picked from the community. What criteria are we using? Kodi, is it just any nyama? You just find a young person there, you're representing young people. Okay, so we need to go beyond the statistics to say 30%. Let's have Ndondomego. What procedures are we putting in place to identify the young person who really will represent the interest of young people? How does that young person relate to their community? In youth representative, some decision making platform yet or whose interest am I serving there? So such issues, that's one thing I would say.
Okay, Ellen, would you love to add on what you have said?
Actually, that's very true, because the kind of even the leaders who are good as a the implementing the policies, they should be the youth, not the Antagolagul. Because the youth department kuli muntu gogo 65 years or 75.
Youth for at heart. Very.
The pamene popo how I going to apanga bwanji chifukwa ntazambiri mapeza kuti achinyamata kumene kuja amangopita amangoti takhala kaya papa tione kuti panga bwanji, then after zikatheka anthu akuluakulu cha basa ngopanga yeti moti this possibility imene abase wachinyamata ndemene ayendesa koma still more peza kuti ma readers even kulikulu ngoma kuti voto lalikulu chifukwa iwo ndamene amene kuti akamanena kuti ma youth leaders tikabafuna tipange engage ma youth, even my position amene kwena kukhale achinyamata osati kukhale iwo akuluakulu. That's
can I add?
Yes,
you can add.
But on what he says, I think also my government agencies, because that's where a lot of decision making happens anyway, they should be sensitized with regards to why should young people be involved and what is their role akabwera. I'll give you an example. I don't know if it has changed. I heard that it has changed. Please, you guys will correct me if I'm wrong. Komano gati muma council, masire councils, umakara youth representative kaguri, they have a full council meeting. Komano that youth representative does not have a voting power. You understand? And for that young person to even speak in such forums, not happen. So they have to grant him permission. Next time, you know. Or sometimes they'll be generous enough to say, they'll speak, but it's up to them to say, we'll take what you're saying.
Because it's not in the...
Yeah, it's not in the thing. That's number one. Number two, I wanted to give an example of the Youth Caucus Parliament. Okay? The Youth Caucus Parliament is not a legally binding caucus. Okay. It's different from our colleagues in Kenya. Their youth parliament is legally binding in the act. Komano Malawi, the youth caucus. I think you guys must say, let's have a youth caucus. Nanga we have a women's caucus. Let's just have a youth caucus. So they just decided within themselves because it was right for them to have a youth caucus, but it's not legally binding. Okay, so one of the steps to ensure that we have, at least we're making strides towards youth governance, is to have that youth caucus being legally binding, so that my interest they should have weight. Okay, number one. Number two, it's not about being youthful at heart. I know it contradicts people. They don't know how to speak their interests, so Winawake has to. But honestly, guys, giving platform for young people, let's be deliberate. We got a deliberate effort. The youth should be represented and their voices should be heard. Because sometimes we can put measures, but we don't put in the deliberate efforts. That's what I want to say.
Okay, we've had a beautiful, wonderful conversation here. I've really learned a lot. Apart from just us interacting, I've learned a lot, and I think we should close our conversation for today. But Dennis, do you have any other questions to add?
If today you are tasked to start a revolution for young people, what form would your revolution take?
I think my revolution would not be as extreme as the revolutions we've always had, because I think we're living in a very diverse world. It's not like one size fits all type of thing. So maybe for me, my revolution would be more intersectional, where it cuts across all needs. Unlike the normal revolutions that we've had that are very tailor-made. But for me, the revolution would primarily focus on development, because I think, I could be biased also, maybe because I already work in the development sector, but for me, my revolution would not be political. Let me just say that. For me, I would love it to be very developmental oriented. Yeah.
Kulene, if you were to start a revolution, how would that look like?
Entertainment wise, I think I can come up with we should, even with people with the less resources, we can come up with something which is very, very important to the people. Just not the matter, because people feel like because the gear that has been used here is portable, and the sustainability of it could mean that this Africa industry wise, I can say I pray each and every artist will carry by independent giving them the resources, giving them the information with my managers and the likes. Come more on your own, you can make it. It's too more just a matter of you being patient and understanding whatever you've been doing, other than just being hearing from anybody who has a lot of money, just telling you the policies you can't even fulfill. My policies are as mango sangrasa. It's too more on the artist independent. I can preach that with the evolution in many with the Magamar.
All right.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. And that brings us to the end of our conversation today. We had Leon. He says I've never mentioned him in any of the episodes. So today we had Leanne behind the cameras. I was your host, Bridget Litete, and co-hosted by
Dennis.
Papa Ayla, Dennis Iman. We had our wonderful guests that made this conversation really good. Alan Kunene, I always say Alan Kunene than the usual ID name.
It's okay.
And we also had Rehema. It was really nice having you guys, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having us.
And we're signing out. Peace.